With so many stop motion races being out there, there's bound to be a couple of strange stories. And here's one of them. I don't plan to make this into a series, but this is just one that I wanted to share because it relates to one of my friends. I want to show you guys the weirdest first stop motion win in general by a BMRN or LTP driver. And it comes from none other than my friend James Edwards, or JimtendoMan. Now, I can't say that this is the weirdest first win in all of stop motion because I haven't watched every stop motion race, but it's gotta be up there just how he was even able to enter this race. So, let's look at it. Here you're seeing footage of the most recent win by James Edwards, which was in a one-off truck series as an exhibition race late last year. But his first stop motion win came in the Stop Motion Race of Champions, season number 1, race 3 at Monza. Now, if you know anything about the BMRN, you'll remember that the Stop Motion Race of Champions is reserved for champions, the best of the best, in both my channel and his. So how did a guy without any stop motion wins get in? Well, through a loophole, through a random draw, and through a fast car. So when the first edition of the Stop Motion Race of Champions was made, it was reserved for champions of the York Cup series, as well as several different series on the BMRN's channel. However, there were only 4 spots that were taken up with those requirements. So the next 8 had to be filled with random race winners between both our series. And it just so happened that one of the names pulled was in fact JimtendoMan. So there's your random draw part of how he got this win. But where's the loophole part? Well, you probably already figured it out. JimtendoMan entered this series, with 0 stop motion wins. How is he even eligible to be pulled? Well, this takes us to the weirdness of York Cup Series Season 1. We go here to York Cup Series Season 1. As you may know, York Cup Series Season 1 used to be made in newsletter form, meaning that it was not necessarily a stop-motion series, but rather evolved into one later. And it just so happens that in one of these races, JimtendoMan was entered. He was more or less being a sponsored account of the number 11 machine of Denny Hamlin. In the finish, Denny Hamlin booted Jimmy Johnson out of the way to win, inadvertently giving JimtendoMan his ticket into the SM Rock. But technically, this didn't count as a stop-motion win, because again, this was not a stop-motion race. So there's your loophole part of it, and this is how JimtendoMan was able to get into the stop-motion Race of Champions without actually technically having a stop-motion win. So let's look at the win itself that he actually got, his actual first stop-motion win in the SM Rock round number 3. It's kind of hard to believe that the one guy in the field that had actually never won a stop-motion race could actually end up being a contender and winning in this series, going up against champions and proven race winners. But alas, that's exactly what happened in Season 1, round number 3 at Monza. Round number 3, guys. This was his 3rd attempt in this series, going up against the best of the best. And he managed to win this one. Let's see how he did it. JimtendoMan was already struggling. The way that the starting grid worked was that it would be in inverse order of the point standings, and JimtendoMan was literally second to last in points. But on the other hand, that gave him the ability to start in second place. There you see his blue car on the outside of the front row. As the better drivers came from the back and worked their way through traffic, JimtendoMan managed to keep himself up inside the top 5. Meanwhile, most of the other drivers that had started up there started falling near the back. On the final restart, JimtendoMan was 3rd, and he passed the leader in turn number 2. But he wasn't clear yet, as he still had to hold him off for another lap.
All right, one lap to go. Jack Serrego in the lead. Pepperino goes for a move to get fourth place. And JimtendoMan now up front. And Jack Serrego side now. Bossman trying to force 3 wide. He can't. And goes Jack Serrego. Go for the boss on JimtendoMan. Jack takes the lead. JimtendoMan fights back. He'll take the lead. JimtendoMan will win the race champions round number 3 at Monza.
Yep, this absolute mad lad won his first ever stop motion race in a series where you had to have won a stop motion race to get in. And I think that's why JimtendoMan has the weirdest first stop motion win between the BMRN and LTP. This is Left Turn Productions, signing out.